So is Bitcoin about to make a breakout? Are we just heading towards the biggest altcoin run in our history? If that's happening, what's causing it? And what might be the risk factors to prevent that from happening? First, let's look at the adoption of crypto and Bitcoin in general. I'm in crypto since 2015. It would be considered an absolute fantasy back then to think that any bank, any institution, any family office or fund would even consider saying something positive about crypto, let alone actually set up funds or reach agreements with crypto projects. But yet here we are. And so, why have they moved towards this space? What has driven this institutional interest? Well, number one, there's that diversification. It's another option. It's another a place to allocate funds above and beyond the standard stocks, bonds, and real estate that they tend to invest in. It also has proven, and they've started to see that it has proven to be an inflation hedge, with a lot of concerns out there about inflation, and that not only is it sticky, but it may start to go back up again. Then many have seen the likes of Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, as it has a limited supply, only having 21 million ever possibly in circulation. And with that, many believe that about 6 million of the original have actually gone completely out of circulation from the point of view of they've been lost by people who were, I suppose, early adopters and didn't know how to protect them. Another reason many of them are moving towards crypto is because of the high potential returns. Of course, there's huge potential upside with cryptos, and certainly can outperform most and probably all of traditional assets. So, of course, that's going to gather the attention of institutional investors over time. Of course, many have come towards the space because of the underlying blockchain technology. That's probably what got them to come towards it initially, but now they're really starting to gather pace. Of course, with the Bitcoin ETF, the probable Ethereum ETF coming soon, they now can see that they can allocate funds in a safe way into these types of projects. With that comes more interest in the overall crypto space, and they start to see that there's other ways in which they can adopt it. Of course, something that was extremely important to get this ball rolling was regulatory clarity. That's something that has been absolutely missing in the US for many years, and has seen a lot of people, including the US citizens, move abroad and go elsewhere. But now it appears the US are starting, just in the last few weeks, really starting to take the regulations seriously from the point of view of actually putting the rules in place for companies to follow. Up till this point, it has been very much a case of we're not giving you the rules, but we'll tell you when they're broken. Now the regulatory clarity seems to be coming into place. And of course, there's that custodial solutions that have been, a major barrier for institutions to hold these themselves in prior. But now you've got the likes of Fidelity Digital Assets, you've got Coinbase Custody, you've got Backed, all providing secure storage solutions for institutional investors. So these are the various things that have opened the gateway for these institutional investors to come in. Has that started to work? Well, yes, we've seen direct investment from the likes of hedge funds, mutual funds, family offices, and even pension funds. So now these are the custodians of a huge amount of money, and they're starting to move towards the crypto space. On top of that, you've crypto funds being created, the likes of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and of course, many ETF funds now being put in place. These are all increasingly making the gateway into the space easier and easier for these institutional funds. Now we're starting to see partnerships and collaborations. We've seen the likes of IBM and Maersk have collaborated on a blockchain-based supply chain platform. We've seen decentralized finance really coming to the fore. We can see that institutions are now exploring DeFi because they can see there's a space for opportunities in lending, borrowing, and yield farming, where they can make really strong percentages on interacting with the DeFi space. Of course, venture capitalists are now becoming the institutional investors funding blockchain crypto startups, a complete turnaround. And on top of that, many of these institutions are seeing that you can have tokenization of assets, anything from real estate, art, equities, and so on. So now we're really starting to see that, I suppose, first of all, the gateway has been created. The factors that needed to be put in place to allow them come into the space have now in place and are continuously developing. And so then you can see these big institutions coming in. And so, look, we've seen the likes of MicroStrategy, who, of course, have very much made it their way of buying into Bitcoin more and more. They now have over 1% of all circulating supply of Bitcoin. And that's not taking into the fact that about 6 million are probably gone out of circulation completely. Of course, we saw Tesla buying 1.5 billion worth of them. We've seen Square, now Block, of Jack Dorsey fame, who are now promoting Bitcoin adoption, and launched various initiatives to do that. We've seen Fidelity Investments. I mean, again, one of the biggest asset managers in the world have financial digital assets. They're offering custodian and trading service for institutional clients. You have Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, again, two of the biggest banks. They've launched cryptocurrency trading desks and are offering crypto-related services to their clients. So you can see now some of the big names are starting to come to the place to crypto. And so it's, we now have countries and family offices, institutions, some of the biggest companies in the world, some of the wealthiest individuals in the world, all really not just talking positively about crypto, but actually investing in it directly themselves. You have, the likes of Mass Mutual in back a couple of years ago. They're an insurance giant. Mass Mutual invested 100 million in Bitcoin. You have BlackRock has incorporated Bitcoin futures in funds, and the CEO Larry Fink, who was really condemning Bitcoin a few years ago, is now acknowledged growing interest in the Bitcoin among its clients. You have the likes of PayPal, one of the biggest payment providers in the world. They've enabled users to be able to buy, hold, and sell things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and so on. They've also launched crypto checkout services. And on top of that, they created their own stablecoin. And that stablecoin initially went out on Ethereum, almost 12 months ago. Now they've also launched on Solana. More on Solana. Is Solana a project you need to watch? Is this something you should have in your portfolio? More on that in another video. Of course, we have Visa and MasterCard, again, two of the biggest payment providers in the world. They've announced plans to support select cryptocurrencies directly on its network, and they continue to do more deals with more crypto platforms as they go along. So again, getting more and more involved in the space. Of course, we've also seen Stripe do something similar. So again, these huge payment providers very much now starting to interact with cryptocurrency. You've the likes of Morgan Stanley, the first major US bank to offer its wealth management clients across access to Bitcoin funds. You have the New York Digital Investment Group. They provide Bitcoin investment and technology solutions to insurers, banks, corporations, and other institutions. The colleges are getting in on it. You have Harvard, Yale, and Stanford endowments reportedly investing in crypto funds. You have Soros Fund Management trading Bitcoin and exploring other crypto investments. You have the Rothschild Investment Corporation. This firm has been accumulating Bitcoin through the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. You have Goldman Sachs cryptocurrency trading desk and considering launching their own digital cryptocurrency. You have ARK Investment Management led by Cathie Woods. She's predicting Bitcoin now to be worth millions each. I think her most recent one was 3.8 million. And they've been a strong advocate of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. You've State Street, one of the largest asset managers, has launched a digital financial division, and you have Fidelity Investments. They've been involved in mining Bitcoin and providing cryptocurrency investment projects to its services. If that isn't an incredible list, some of the biggest banks in the world, some of the biggest payment advisors in the world, some of the biggest colleges in the world, and indeed many countries around the world now starting to adopt the likes of Bitcoin and moving into cryptocurrency. This is an absolutely incredible scenario to find ourselves in a number of years later. Like I said, a few years ago, this would have been considered complete and utter fantasy. Yet we can see more and more countries, companies, institutions, management funds, etc., starting to come now, not just buying into crypto firms, but creating trading platforms and other ETFs and funds to allow more and more come into the space. What will happen, or how can that get even more so? Well, still there's some regulatory uncertainty out there, and the more regulation that comes in place that allows these to come to the party, the more and more they'll come in to buy up more and more of this, of initially probably Bitcoin, probably Ethereum when that ETF comes, but then you'll see that money flow start to go down into other cryptocurrencies and probably more ETFs to come along the way. Of course, there's still that market volatility. And while volatility is great when it's going up, it's not so great when it's going down. And so you've got, fund managers who are still probably reluctant to take that risk in case it goes against them. And then they're, I suppose, lambasted with their stockholders, so their shareholders in their companies. Of course, there's that security risk, but again, more and more there's avenues there being put together to make that easier and easier for these institutions to get involved. Of course, liquidity is still a big thing, and the very biggest, you know, institutional traders out there will be reluctant to put money into something that mightn't be as liquid as they would like in order to be able to sell out at some future date, and they don't want to be caught into that position. And of course, there's like I say, that sort of reputational risk if they come out and say something positive about cryptos, and it goes wrong for them, then they could be really risking their reputation. So ultimately, we've seen an unbelievable take up of cryptocurrency by the biggest banks, some countries, institutions, funds in the space. However, there is much, much more potential to come. And so while we're in an incredible position from the point of view of the overall valuations of cryptos and where they are right now, particularly the likes of Bitcoin, many believe that this is just the drop in the ocean to what's coming soon. So how do you position yourself for all of this? Is it just straight up from here? Well, there's a certain number of risk factors that I believe that have the potential to cause a pullback and could happen before we hit that big bull run. What are those risks? We're going to look at that in the next video. But what I will say to you is this. There is no doubt in my mind from where we are right now to where we'll be in a few years, the numbers will be much, much bigger in the crypto space. The question is, how do you allocate properly? What projects, what cryptos should be you involved in? Where is the biggest upside? And how do you mitigate your risk doing that? This is something we absolutely do in our Telegram group. It's free to join. You can see it in the description below. Please check it out, and you can ask any questions you like in there, and we'll help you out. In the meantime, watch out for the next video on what the risk factors might be, when they might take place, and what is the upside from here. So we'll see you on the next video.